Spud, how are you?
Nice t-shirt, Tommy. I'm grand, yeah.
Yeah, for those who can't see, which is everyone listening to this, I'm wearing the Metatron t-shirt from Saphirians. I can always apocryphal. What are they called?
Saphirians t-shirts.
Saphirians t-shirts. Oh well.
Yeah, as soon as I get money, I'm gonna buy all of them. Oh, maybe not all of them, but a couple of them. Because but I need money. Pandemic, I'm so poor.
You're back as a journalist full time now, are you? Are you back full?
No.
Would you consider yourself, what are you, a sports writer or a journalist, or is it the same thing?
I don't know. Like the easiest way to explain it to anyone is a sports writer, but it's not really sports writing. It's gambling. You know? So I don't know. I mean, I'm at the thing now where this is where all of like the big sports writers who are, big, making careers for themselves. This is all kind of where they started, whatever.
All right.
Before. So once your foot is in the door with a gambling thing, then you progress on to being a proper, football writer, where you'd write about, upcoming matches, but more in depthly and strategies and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's grand and all, but I've no interest in traveling across Europe to see football. I've a wife and kids. I'd rather be at home. I can watch football on telly. I'm happy. I'm okay with that. I'm not a purist who you have to go to the stadium for the full experience. No, I'm all right.
Yeah, but if someone's going to pay you to do it, though, it might have.
I would. To be honest, I wouldn't, because I know, even my brother, his job, all the traveling that's involved, I have no interest in it. None. No. You know what I mean? Everyone likes traveling and seeing a bit of the world, but
I don't really care.
But no, I do. I like to go new places, but I don't like to go. It's a crap way of life to go somewhere to get a bus or a train or a plane somewhere. Check into your hotel, leg it to a match, watch the match, write all about it. You just know you have no time for enjoyment. You're just there for work, which is obviously it's your job. Yeah, but if you have a chance to go to somewhere you're never going to normally go to, I don't know, fucking Belgrade or something. I'm never going to go there. It'd be cool to get paid to go there, but it'd also be cool to be paid to go there and say, okay, look, I have an extra hour or two here. I might actually go see a museum or something. Or a strip club, whatever.
Yeah. Whatever's on. Whatever's happening.
But you know what I mean? So it's not the life for me, Tommy. It's not the life for me.
I spent most of my 20s. I'm happy with what I do. Most of my 20s in the back of a van travelling around, so I know the whole thing.
You know. I don't know, but yeah, I suppose sports betting. But I just tell people it's sports journalism, which really impresses them, and then I'm like, no, it's gambling. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, because I assume the sports journalists would have started with the Wexford Herald or something like that, and the local kind of.
Yeah, that's the old way. That's the old way of what you do, and then you work your way up. But now most people start with gambling. But see, writing about gambling is actually, I would argue, it's bigger now than your traditional kind of sports stuff, because there's more gambling outlets.
Yeah, see, the problem with the gambling thing, and I suppose with any of these sort of vices or whatever, is that for the most part, it's fine for people. It's just that small percentage that, literally gamble their house away, or the food money and stuff like that. So there is that element where it's kind of tarnished by that.
Of course there is, but sure, there's addiction in everything.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It's it's the same. It's let's not talk about, alcohol, because, some people are alcoholics or that kind of thing. You just have to be mindful of, obviously, that people have a struggle with these things. But I don't think it should, in a sense, overall tarnish thing, because people have been gambling since the beginning of time. It's a thing we enjoy doing. It's something. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what I used to do is I haven't put any money down on it in a long while now. But what I used to do is start of the month, I'd say, right, this month I'd put 50 quid into it or 20 quid into the account, and that'd be it. Once it's gone, it's gone. And if I'm up at the end of it, I'm up. I was starting to get good at it there for a while, and then the pandemic came along, and now I'm just I find it really hard. I didn't think I would, but I find it hard to watch football matches without the crowds.
Right, yeah.
And I was watching one on BBC the other day, and they have the fake noises, and it's awful.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
It's so bad.
And is there someone there making it louder if someone's getting close?
Yeah. It's absolute pathetic. So it is. Yeah. It's absolutely awful. Now, at least on some of the bigger channels like Sky and whatever, they have 2 channels going where one will have the sounds and one won't, and it's far better.
Right, yeah.
I was watching an Italian match the other day, and there was two lads. One played last season. One played for Chelsea, one played for Man United. One is Belgian, the other is Nigerian.
Right.
But they're playing football in Italy, and so they talk to each other in English, and you could just hear one of them lofted in a pass to your man made the balls with it, and he's like, "Ah, for fuck's sake!" It's like, yeah, that's great. You can hear all that kind of stuff, But,
and I assume there's any amount of Zoom calls you could get in to watch the football matches as well at the same time.
Of course. But it's not. But I am struggling to watch it without the crowds. It's not the same at all. And me, man, I love football, but it's not as much crack, unfortunately.
I don't know. Maybe they should just play everything on FIFA now.
Yeah.
I did see that during the pandemic. I think it was on Reddit. I've seen it that they did a whole Formula One season, but they did it, virtually.
Oh yeah.
And so you could follow it along, and I'm sure there was people gambling on it too.
Yeah. Look, gambling. I don't want. I know it does come in for a bad rep, but it's the same as alcohol. It's the same as anything that's addictive. It's like, well, I mean,
what's that mean? Cigarettes. I mean, there's nothing good out of that, like at all. At least at gambling, you could win some
increased focus, Tommy.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I mean, is there any way we can take nicotine that it isn't harmful for you?
Yeah, vape it.
No, but vaping isn't good. Vaping isn't the best for you.
I'm sure you could take nicotine as like a vitamin supplement.
I wonder. No, because I know that you're not supposed to, like, even those, like, the gums and all, chewing gums, they're bad for your teeth. They're really bad for your teeth. So
but isn't the thing of cigarettes, isn't the nicotine is the addictive bit, but it's not the bad thing. The tar is the bad thing. It's not the idea.
Yeah, isn't that it? Yeah. It's good.
So nicotine is fine.
If you take nicotine, it's grand. Like, it does give you fun. Like, I used to, if I was going on long drives or anything, even after I'd given up smoking, I would sometimes buy a pack of cigarettes, because if I was getting tired on the road, I'd have a cup of coffee and a cigarette, and you'd be focused then again for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So nicotine is fine if they could figure out a way that you could take it without it being bad. Like, what's the stuff that these people in South America eat? It's not the leaf of the cocaine plant. It's something similar like that though, and it gives you like increased focus and stuff like that. What's it called? Chad.
Oh, I know the thing you're on. Yeah, I don't know what the word is, but I do know.
Yeah, you can't get it anyway. I think it's supposed to, it's illegal in most European countries, but like, I'd give that a go.
Do you ever see the footage of how cocaine is made?
Oh yeah. That put an end to Spud trying to put fucking half Colombia up his nose. Oh my god, it's disgusting, isn't it?
Oh man, yeah, it's really bad. Like, 'cause you kind of think, oh, these lovely natural plants, and obviously, to cook it or something. This is fine. No, it's terrible. It's disgusting. It's horrible.
This added some petrol here.
I know, but by the time any drugs got to Ireland, God knows how much original drug was actually in it anyway. So.
Yeah, for sure. It's drugs are bad. Well, they're not all bad. I don't know. Do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Do what thou wilt. Shall be the whole of the law. That's it.
Love's the law. Love and the will. 93.
Love and the will. 93. 69.
How you getting on with Living Telema? Or Telema?
Yeah, the book of Telema. Yeah, I think the book is really great. And like, the more I read it, the more I'm like, yeah, Jesus Christ. If there was a way of doing the AA without the ritual stuff, and without like having to be examined on it, if it was just a book that you could read and progress along.
Oh, like if someone was able to send you the entire AA syllabus, maybe in a text format.
I wonder who would have that. No, I think it's fascinating. I do, honestly. I think it's really, really good, and it's gotten me. Like I told you before, I think the Kabbalah and the Tree of Life is fascinating. I think that's the direction I'm looking in anyway. And the way it, kind of gives you a footing of what to do along each kind of path, and how, like, because you see the Tree of Life and how they all are interconnected and all that, but you don't really get it at first, No. And then it explains that, like, okay, so when you find yourself here, like, you're actually progressing to here, so you're already doing work on that, but but as well, you have to keep up. You have to keep the knowledge of what you've just done in you as well. I don't know if I can explain it properly. What I find a bit weird about it is that a lot of it leads up to the knowledge and conversation with the holy guardian angel stuff. But then it also says, like, okay, that's like step 5 or 6 or something on the Tree of Life. So once you get there, then it's like, okay, it's really hard to get there, but once you get there, then it doesn't really matter because you have to go on and do loads of other stuff. So it builds it up. It really, really builds it up as this huge, massive thing. And then it's like, well, it doesn't really matter if you get it or not, because it's always there in the background anyway. It's like, hold on now, what the fuck?
Well, I'll tell you, I have a good equivalency for what it is. It's like if you're in a band and you're practicing and you're getting, doing the gigs and you're getting the thing or whatever, and then you get signed. But that's only when the story starts. But it's such a huge thing to get signed.
I suppose,
so it's the
that
same
makes
thing.
sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
And Promethea by Alan Moore is probably a great one to read if you haven't read it. I think, have you read it?
No, I haven't.
About it. But it's basically a path walking through the different things and coming out with, of course, with an Alan Moore spin. That kind of knowledge and conversation, the Holy Garden Angel wouldn't be classical Kabbalah though. That's kind of added by the magicians later on. So
is it? Oh yeah, it would be. Yeah, of course.
A Jewish mystic, he'd go.
Yeah.
The other.
It's funny as well because it's this like it seems that it's quite an old thing, and it is old, but it's not nearly as old as you think it is.
No, it's 1400s or something, isn't it? Or maybe.
Yeah, 1400s is kind of when they started it, but I think it was only like in the 1800s when it was kind of like, right, we have it figured out finally.
Right.
So I think it was some French rabbi. It had been around for a long time, but he like sat down with it and just dedicated his life to it, and finally figured out how all the steps and how it all. I think it's absolutely fascinating.
My kind of grievance with the Kabbalah is that, particularly in the cult, is that every single thing is tried to be, welded into it or forced into it when you go. Like people go, oh, where did the 47 sit within the Kabbalah? They don't.
They don't.
But, people want it. And I mean, you can make a case if you're, everything should fall within the Kabbalah in a sense, but not as easy as people think it want to be.
Yeah, I get you.
But they kind of want to push everything, and I can just go, some things just aren't, and stop trying to force every kind of, what's that word, synchronism. It's not synchronism where you have different thoughts, beliefs, religions, and try to make them all syncreticism. That's it, isn't it, the word?
I have no idea.
You're trying to push everything into the one thing.
Yeah.
You just go, you don't have to, but that comes from, I suppose, the whole thing of that, behind it all, it's all one, and there's all one teaching, and it's just presented in a different way, which you go, well, maybe, but there's a lot of differences. A lot of, we've had a few wars over these minor differences.
Of course. Loads, yeah. Especially here, there's a mountain. If you're ever over here, Tommy, I'll bring you. There's a mountain close to me that I like. I tell you, man, it's one of my favorite places in the world. I love it up there. It's desert. I was up there with a mate of mine last week, and we found wolf and bear tracks. And there's like this place wouldn't be high mountains. It'd be high enough, like, but it's not. You wouldn't normally get bears around here at this time of year, because the bears don't really like. Not they don't like people, but they just kind of stay away from us, So it's really rare to see something like that here. But anyway, there's what do you call it? The way in Ireland we have we had the hedge schools during penal laws when the Brits really, really, really hated us. So up here there's an old Protestant church that was like a hedge church.
Oh, right.
So like this part of Poland was like right in the middle of the religious wars going on because it would have been this part would have been ruled by Germany, so that's where a lot of the wars was going on between the Catholics and the Protestants. So like there's nothing there now except just a rock and a cross, but it's kind of cool that.
Cool, yeah.
It's mad to think
should do a video around it. That'd be cool. I'd want to see that.
There's too many foresters working up there. I'd be freaked out, man. I went up there the last time. There's a load of lads working, and was like, "Fuck's sake!" Because they have this path that you walk, and it makes it easy. And we chickened out because like my Polish isn't good, and his Polish is worse. And we're just like, fuck it. We'll just turn left and go up the mountain. And it was really, really steep. Idiots. Because I'm so fucking shy when it comes to speak. I'm shy anyway. But to speak Polish, I'm just like, oh God, no! Don't judge me. Don't hate me. Come here. Another thing on the Kabbalah that I was kind of looking up was that how it ties in. I was just kind of looking up how it ties into the tarot cards and all that. And it turns out that the Marseille tarot, so like Jodorowsky and all those, they're not that good for them because they don't have the aspect of the. I suppose it would be divination or clairvoyancy or whatever it is, because with the Rider Waite card, what are they called? Rider card.
Oh, it changes.
Rider Waite.
Yeah, Rider Waite, Smith, Coleman, Pamela.
Yeah, so whatever the fuck they're called. Them and the Hermetic one and Crowley's Thoth cards are supposed to be the best because they have they're full of symbolism. Whereas the other ones is just like Whereas the other ones are just like like Jodorowsky's ones like the eight of cups or whatever is just 8 cups.
Okay, 8 cups.
So. Yeah, I got my money back from them.
Oh, did you?
Ooh, yeah.
Via PayPal or via them?
PayPal, yeah.
So they're not even. They didn't even check that. Like they just it was just sent in your favor. They didn't say, "Oh, we're sorry, we didn't send any."
No, they never got back to me at all. There was just complete silence. They're horrible. Really, I like whatever. It's not even much money, but it's just that like they
No,
never
yeah,
even
yeah.
wrote to me to say sorry or to say, look, we posted it or not. Just that's not nice.
No, and it's like you're not alone. There's obviously a load of people who've done that because it's at this stage it's just going to be automated. Like if they're not even responding to things, that's a pain. And can you get them anywhere else?
I'm not. To be honest, I'm not going to now. After reading that the Marseille ones aren't.
Well,
as
the
useful.
Marseille ones definitely predate the Golden Dawn ones, though. So
Yeah.
More
No,
traditional.
there was some video I watched, and they were comparing them and saying, look, the Marseille ones are good, obviously, and they're good to learn about because historically speaking, that's where they started. But your man made the point that, like, look, Marseille cards they turned into modern playing cards, you know. And he said, but he's like, but the stuff in anything that was based on the Golden Dawn stuff, that's much better if you're looking into the Kabbalah or you're looking into more esoteric stuff or whatever, because they have the symbolism. They have far more symbolism than what the Marseille cards do. And so, okay, I'm going to believe you.
Yeah, it's just I think you can't do wrong with a Raider Waite, Coleman Smith, banana, blah 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 reissue, new trim cards. You know, I mean the ones that are the imagery is the most iconic that we know. You know, like when you see like tattoos of tarot cards, that's the deck it's from. You know, and all the kind of things. There's about 10 different versions of them now, though, like different colors, different kind of. But the one I have is just the badly printed one that everyone has.
But you know, as well, there was something as well in the AA as you move up your ranks. One of the first couple of ranks, I think. Maybe this explains why there's such an abundance of fucking tarot cards around at the minute. You have to make your own. I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's part of the BOTA as well. They don't have it quite that you have to make your own.
Yeah, you have to colour in theirs, don't you? Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
Mine would all be mad psychedelic then. If it was
no, it's not because it's not even that much fun. There's particular colours you have to use. Like it's.
What's the fucking point in that? That's no crack. But maybe that explains why there's so many. Like there's fucking thousands upon thousands of tarot cards out now.
Yeah, but it's like. People collect them as well. So you have the Twin Peaks tarot. It's not the most traditional one or anything, but it goes with your different tastes.
There's an awful amount of cat-themed ones. That's miserable. I just have these images of old women in the fucking Ohio mountains, if they have mountains, cat ladies doing their tarot. I turn it's the magician. Meow. What do you want now, Felix? More food.
Not to play to any stereotypes at all.
Yeah. Does Ohio have mountains? I have no fucking idea. I don't even know where Ohio is on the map. It just it popped into my head there because it's at the end of a Presidents of USA song, isn't it? Ohio, Cleveland rocks. Cleveland rocks.
Speaking of which, I seen Mount Rushmore from a more pulled back view recently, and it's a very different mountain. Like you expected these huge faces, and that's the entirety of the mountain, but it's like such a small, little, insignificant part of this ancient Native American deity. Really, isn't it? Like it's
They were never allowed in. They still don't want it there.
No, why would you?
Well, yeah. Can you imagine? Fucking hell. Winston Churchill and Maggie Thatcher's head fucking as you walk down O'Connell Street watching you the whole time. Fucking hell. Like, imagine
the Wicklow Mountains.
what the poor Native Americans have put up with from the white man is fucking ridiculous. Like, and they totally got away with it. And sure, I mean, the Yanks, they're just mad. They get away with everything. No one gives them shit for the bombs on Japan at all, which were just like mass murder. It's just what they were. Do you know? They totally got away with that.
But it ended the war, man.
The war was over.
I know.
The fuck, like? We had to do it, otherwise they wouldn't surrender. Shut the fuck up. Jesus
that's
Christ.
a very odd. It's an odd one because it's. But the whole. Then you get into the conspiracies of Pearl Harbor and all that they knew and all of these things. That's probably the first. That's mentioned in Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns. That was the first time I ever.
Right, yeah.
Kind of a Pearl. I keep going to say Pearl Jam conspiracy. Pearl Jam conspiracy. Pearl Harbor conspiracy. That was not that not in the kind of thing that was an inside job, but more to let it happen, to know it was
Yeah,
going to
yeah, yeah,
happen.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it's like, I mean, there's the thing with Irish history. Michael Collins, apparently the British Army knew everything about him and where he was and all that. But it was just, it's what's that saying? Better the enemy you don't, better the devil you know.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So they can keep an eye on him. You know, it's like why organized crime is kind of allowed because you know who's involved rather than just fucking.
If there's an issue, you know who to go to sort it out rather than.
Well, it's like, I mean, you know, this on conspiracy theories, this fucking, what's her name? Ghislaine Maxwell.
Oh yeah, how do you pronounce that name?
I'm calling her Ghislaine.
Ghislaine, right?
Ghislaine.
She has
That's it,
coronavirus now, so she's definitely dead within a couple of days. Like,
I bet Prince Andrew's fucking sweating now, isn't he? Huh? See what I did there? Stole that one from Frankie Boyle. That's what I did. Yeah. Yeah, that's that. But that's. I wonder if that's kind of where Pizzagate comes from. You know, because Pizzagate is far too outlandish. Like, you know, there's people have shown up at that pizza joint. Where's the basement? It's like there's never been a basement here.
Yeah.
You know, like
but the worst thing about that kind of Pizzagate thing is that some of the photos are definitely weird. You know what I mean? Like some of the paintings and all these things, that's very odd. But it's the conclusions then that is the issue, is the problem I find. It's like you go, right, that's weird, that's grand. I'll just note that rather than go, oh, it's definitely aliens, or whatever your conclusion is. You know, it's a worldwide conspiracy. And then, but the whole thing is that, like, you do seem to have a significant amount of paedophiles in power, which is one, the horrible thing is that paedophile seems to gravitate towards one to be in the control of the world, or two, paedophiles are in every kind of gamut of human civilization. We just have concentrated on the ones in power because that's where we're looking. And you kind of go, well, maybe it's a higher percentage going around. It's just like, neither that's good. None of that's good. None of that's fun.
No, neither. But, I saw something today. Some people have been putting up playlists of what's his name, Ennio Morricone, isn't it?
Yeah.
He died there last night, and one of them had put up the Lolita soundtrack. I'm like, nah, stay away from that. You don't want to be tarnished with that. Like, you know what I mean?
How's that film? I don't, because it's praised and it's lauded as a good film. It's an odd film and it's an odd book.
I didn't see it, to be honest.
Like,
wouldn't be my cup of tea now.
No, it's definitely not. Like, I mean, but you see it on lists of, you know, top 10 best movies and stuff like that. Like, I suppose it's just because it's, what's the word?
Maybe it's a nudge and a wink to other pedos.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. You don't know what the fuck is going on, really. I have no fucking idea. The more I read about stuff, the more I'm like, I haven't a clue.
Yeah.
But I'm safe. I have a chainsaw. I'll be all right. I'll take a few of them with me.
But yeah, I mean, like, and I suppose with the paedophile thing, like, there's so much that happened in Ireland with the Catholic Church and all that it's, you kind of, just, the worst one, not the worst one, they're all terrible, but that your man lost prophets, that was mental, some of the stories of the things that he was up to, like, because I've heard, like, it's kind of like, imagine being in that band.
Oh.
And, like, did they know, did they not know, like, if they knew, that's terrible, if they didn't know and they found out when everyone else, imagine finding out, you know this guy 20 years, whatever, and he's like...
But it must have been like what we were saying, was it last week, about your man, the Frames, like, it's just kind of like, okay, well, was he living the life of a rock star? Because, like, okay, he's going to get off with groupies and all that, but it's like, how old is she? She's...
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but, like, when I was working in pubs, I was awful at getting ages, you know? Oh, absolutely terrible. Like, I presume that if they were in the pub, then their ID was checked. It's grand to serve them, you know?
Yeah. But your man lost profits. It was babies, so I mean, there's no.
Oh well, yeah, that's a bit,
There's no question there. But yeah, no, I do understand. But I think in some of the things you read about the new, like that one that David Bowie that people always bring up about, he knew she was 14, like that, and you know that there's
David Bowie has dirt on him, has he?
14-year-old from the 70s story, but supposedly that I've never read it. I'm with the band, you know, the groupie biography. It's a very famous book.
Oh, this is Penny Lane from fucking Almost Famous. It's based on, isn't it?
Yes, that one. Yeah. So like that's meant to, you know, like open people's eyes to exactly what was going on. And it's like there's some quote I seen recently goes, "All of your favorite rock stars from the 1970s had 14-year-old girlfriends." And you kind of go, oh. You know. I did, you know, the thing is, oh, that's the way it was done then. It goes, I don't accept that as as an excuse at all, really.
But to me, it was. I mean, like, you know, if I count up the age difference between, like, my, like, grandparents or great-grandparents, it's like, whoa, okay. Yeah, but then again, people didn't live longer than 45. Well, you were still fucking alive, aren't you? You know?
Yeah, but that's not even true, though. It's just the
Yeah.
life expectancy was lower, but most people lived as they do now. It's just more babies died, so that the average age of death was like whatever it was, 33, 40.
Jesus,
that.
I've never put that together.
So it's not
Fucking hell, I'm so dumb. How did I never put that together before?
Yeah, because I mean, you
Thanks, Tommy.
look at any historical person and they die when they're 70 or whatever. You know, like it's kind of not something. But still, it's one of those things that you just assume. Oh yeah, that's how it worked because you're probably told by a teacher at school that's how it worked. But
Probably,
it's
yeah.
not.
Just believing what I was told, huh? Swallowing the blue pill. I don't know.
Oh,
swallowing...
you see, Mandela effect. They've changed recently, supposedly. Oh, it used to be the blue pill.
Come here, I thought your man on Mandela. I thought this Marconi fellow. I thought he was dead a long time ago, but it turns out he did Tarantino's one, Hateful Eight, there a while ago. How many years ago is that? Must be 10 years ago, doesn't it?
Everything seems to be 10
Is
years
it
ago
10?
now.
That's a good western, though. I think that's a great western.
Oh, I've never seen it.
Hateful Eight's really good. It's long. It's like all fucking Tarantino stuff. Everything's too fucking long, but it's really good. It's like it's kind of like it's kind of like a one scene play, really.
Right. Oh, right. Okay.
All of it takes place in the living room of this cabin.
like a Hitchcock type of affair.
Yeah, kind of. There's a couple of scenes where they're outside, but literally all they're doing is like moving stuff from the cart to the inside.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I think that's about. There's one or two other. No, but you wouldn't count it. They're just looking at the stagecoach coming in. But as far as other than like 2 or 3 maybe scenes, it all happens in the living. It's great, man. It's a proper mystery, and you're like, who's the bad guy? Who's the good guy?
Yeah.
They're all bad guys, really. You know, of course they are. It's cool. But so he's dead.
I really like his stuff. I mean, obviously, you know, he's when you think of westerns, it's him that that's kind of
because he did all the Sergio Leone ones, I
Yeah.
think, didn't he? Yeah.
like, I mean, I'm sure back in, like, if you played his western themes to people from that era to go, that's not indicative of our music at all. You know.
Yeah. Because there's the stuff with. I was listening to which one was it? I have it here. Not the Once Upon a Time. A few dollars more. Where there's the. Ding, 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 ding. It's great, but it's like, is it racist? It's not racist. It's a bit. Yeah, I don't know. Is it? Maybe.
It's a bit of its time.
Yeah. Good films, though. Good crack.
Good films.
Anyway, that's enough rambling from me, Tommy. You take over there.
Right, so 27, nearly 20 minutes.
You're
28 minutes
joking me.
in.
How do we get it so long? Like, it's ridiculous.
That's just what we do. So this week we decided to watch The Secret. Is it The Secret it's called? Hold on till I look. Curse of Skinwalker Ranch. The Curse of yeah. It was here. See, on IMDb it's called The Curse of Skinwalker Ranch, but it's The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch original. So it's one of those things where it's probably called something in, like Adventures in Babysitting was called A Night on the Town.
Right. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I don't want to know, to be honest. What the fuck?
So it's History Channel, is it? Yeah. God, you'd think I would have actually properly done some notes. It wouldn't be like me. Yeah, it's History Channel. And it's one of those, it's a documentary series, 8 episodes, about a place called Skinwalker Ranch, which is a lot of people would probably know from the lore and from different cult
There's a Hollywood movie as well. So
there is, yeah. I just noticed that this morning. It's not getting great reviews. But
the Hollywood one. No. And they make no mention of... But they make no mention of what happens in that film in this.
Yeah, I assume that they're just trying to do their own kind of thing, rather than because they don't do an awful lot of the history. They kind of talk about the guy who did own it, and that's kind of it. Because there is a great documentary called The Hunt for the Skinwalker, which is directed by the guy who did the Bob Lazar documentary. And George Knapp is in it, and Robbie Williams is in it at the end as well. They all sit around a campfire talking about it, and it's quite good. And it's more the previous story, the previous millionaire who owns it, and all the strange kind of things. And it kind of brings the lore, up to date, the whole history of it. Whereas this new TV show doesn't really do a history of it. It just kind of goes,
no.
This place is weird. Someone used to live here. They thought it was weird. Now let's get on with it. George Knapp originally wrote the book Hunt for the Skinwalker. George Knapp is a guy from Coast to Coast AM who's probably as well known as, I suppose, George Norrie or Who's the other guy who was the big coast to coast?
Yeah, with the
My
mustache.
brain. My
That
brain.
guy?
No, the older guy. He died recently. He was on.
Oh yeah, shit.
yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I don't remember.
Yeah, that's terrible that I don't remember, but I used to have a decent brain. It seems to have gone. But anyway, George Knapp wrote the book with another guy, and that's kind of got the whole thing going about this kind of Skinwalker thing. So the new show, I said it's 8 episodes. The new millionaire owner has bought it, and they want to have set up some sort of team where they're going to investigate it, and to bring in this new guy called Travis Taylor, who is an astrophysicist, who is also a sci-fi writer, I have found out since, and has also appeared on other shows such as Ancient Aliens, Unexplained Files.
Red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag.
And his first one, he was an associate producer on Rocket City Rednecks, which he was also, I think he was in. So he's not just someone who'd have plucked from, he was working, at CERN or something, and to bring him in. Would you ever look at this thing? So he's obviously in the area and in the thing. I'm sure he possibly has popped up on Oak Island at some stage, because the Oak Island is the template for what this show is.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think they seem to have learned lessons from Oak Island in that let's not do 14 seasons where nothing happens. Let's do one season where a lot of things happen.
Oh my God, a hammer! A hammer? What kind of hammer? Let's do 15 minutes on the different kinds of hammers it might possibly be.
And talk about digging around this hammer for 3
Jesus.
episodes, then we'll dig and find nothing. So that's Oak Island for 14
Oak
seasons.
Island could have been great, but it's not.
But you do need to, you have the same thing. You have the millionaire who's funding it. You have the control room where they talk about it, and they have the video conferencing thing going on. But I have to say, I really, really enjoyed it. I thought I was good when I went, oh, here we are, Oak Island. I wasn't going to enjoy it. I like your man, Travis Taylor. He works well in that he's open to these things, has, some relatively good sciencey kind of approach to it, which I'm sure if you come from a science background, he probably doesn't. But the lay person looking at it go, oh, well, at least he seems to be not just giving straight into the woo. But he's also, he can go with the woo at the same time. He's not a skeptic by any means, but he's just kind of thing. And he's an interesting kind of guy to read. The other guys are all weird. Every one of them. Very odd. There's a security guard who's just is adamant that no one is allowed to dig.
Fucking that security guard, man. If there's ever someone who was not suited to his job, it is that man. He's afraid of everything. He's afraid. He's literally afraid of turning the fucking sod in the yard. He wouldn't pluck a dandelion. That's how much of a fucking wimp he is. He's scared of everything. Now the other security guard, Caleb, he'd
with the big gun who's going around with the M16.
He'd kill you. He'd kill you and he'd eat you. So he would. He's a monster.
He needs to get a new phone though, because it keeps going weird. It keeps going weird. Just buy a new phone, man. Buy a new phone.
What's the name of the CCTV guy? Oh, Jesus.
Hold on, I have them all here. We have Eric, Brandon, Thomas. Dragon is the security guy. Where did he get that name from?
That's an awful name.
Jim Sigala, scientist, is actual a mutual friend of ours has told us he is an actual published scientist. So he is something he's done, not just scientist for TV. Eric is a principal investigator. Eric Bard, is that who you're thinking of?
That's him. He's a strange chap.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Is he the guy with the huge forehead?
He's got the big. He's the one who runs the CCTV and all that kind of stuff.
With the guy who got the edema or the swelling on his brain.
No, not him.
Right. No. That's an interesting one. There is a couple of kind of interesting things that happen immediately. Because you kind of go, oh, we're going to spend a whole season, and they might build up to one kind of discovery, because it starts with the death of a cow, and them all gathering around, and we're going, oh, here we are. Cattle mutilations is a big thing around Skinwalker Ranch. This must be what the entire season's going to be about, leading to this moment. And it actually, for me, that cow bit is the most underwhelming thing of the entire season. So much so that it kind of ruins, it goes into farce, really, at that point. And you can really see the Oak Island script. You can see that this was the pilot episode that someone actually scripted and wrote down and put together. And this is how we're selling it, that kind of thing. But one of the guys, security guys, he had he was out looking around the place or whatever, and then he ended up having to go to hospital, and he had this mad swelling on his brain, and he medical community couldn't work out what it is, but finally went down. It was grand. But it starts, it's like old people know when it's going to rain because their knee swells up, so he can sense danger when the back of his head starts throbbing. He goes, "Oh, what is that? Oh, my head's throbbing."
The cancerous lump on his head starts pulsating. Woo, 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 woo. I'm getting out of here, guys. Yeah, what was his name? Tom Winterton. He's there's something weird as well in that. Like, so he's the ranch manager, and there's another like bigger guy. What was his name? Jim, I think. No, not Jim. What these ones? 5 hours. Jim. Yeah, so Jim Morse. He's this big guy, and he has a good relationship with the Native Americans around him, because on 3 sides there's Native American land, and then there's this mesa or mountain, whatever. But I forgot what my point was. Shit, it's gone.
Right. Well, anyway.
Tom.
So you've seen the mesa, which is the big it's the focal point of the first couple of episodes. Anyway, you just get your brain working in the background now. And one of the very first things to do is they're going to do. They've seen lights shining out of it or whatever, and like kind of straight lights spotting up into it. And so they start shining lights at different things, and they're getting different effects and different, I suppose, reflections. And then one guy sits on it, and they're shining a light on him, because when they shine a light, there seems to be this reflection that they can't work out where it is or where it's coming from. So they go over to investigate it, and when they're actually at the spot, the light that they can see on the camera isn't visible to them in real life. So they're noticing an awful lot of the lights that's coming off this mesa is can only be seen like through infrared, or can only be seen at different times, and it's not necessarily just visible. But the helicopter guy who's bringing in Travis at the beginning of the show, and this thing's going, yeah, I'm not flying over that. Why? Oh no, it's too dangerous. And you're just going, yeah, because you're told not. Did a producer or a director say, yeah, just say you find it too dangerous to fly over this small rock? but it's like the focus of the I suppose the thing what we should mention is what a Skinwalker is and why it's called a Skinwalker Ranch. In that there's 2 Native American tribes. It's the Ute, is that right? Is that how it's pronounced? UTE, and who's the other one? The Navajos, is it?
Navajo, yeah.
Yeah, and the Navajos weren't particularly nice to the Utes. They had them as slaves, and they had whatever. They were kind of in control.
Well, everyone would enslave the Utes, though. The Utes were like the hippies of the Native Americans. They hardly got in fights with anyone.
Right.
All, like, this is only my little bit of knowledge about. Like,
they do it. It's a kind of short kind of recap of it, but.
The Apache and the Comanche, they're the ones you had to be really scared of.
Right.
If the Utes came along, you'd be like, how's it going, lads? You want to smoke something? You want to sell me something to smoke? Yeah.
So the Utes were like the Irish of the Native Americans. But so whatever, the Utes take over or whatever and get the Navajos out, and the Navajos curse the land. And it's part of their kind of lore is that the Skinwalker walks the earth, or is protecting, or is some sort of evil, demon-y type thing. And in the other videos and other documentaries, there's loads of strange things happens, like things like cattle mutilation happens an awful lot, where blood will be drained out of the cows, but there's no blood around them. Eyes will be perfectly cut out, like in a square, and it's all this very precision medical kind of procedures that are done on it. There's one in that the Bob Lazar dude's documentary where I think the cows end up within a kind of a shed or some sort of not house, like a caravan, a mobile home type thing that there's no way they could have got into, as if they were transported into. We see lots of footage as well of like weird noises, weird sounds, people being attacked, lots of these type of things. So just like a generally kind of strange, dangerous, I suppose, place, creepy type place. And the last people who owned it moved out because it was just far too creepy for them. They just, there's too much strangeness going on. But
what do you think is because so he's the second billionaire who owns it. His name's Brandon Fugel. Yeah.
Yep.
He's a bit of a strange one as well, but I'm sure we'll talk about. And then before that was owned by your man that...
He was super Christian, super,
Yeah, he's a Mormon, yeah. He's a Mormon, and I think he's a robot. I don't think he's a real person, because he does this thing... I know, yeah. He does this thing... I'm not messing now. He does this thing where he doesn't use conjunctions when he's speaking.
Oh, like data.
He never says can't, never says don't, never says yeah.
That's an android. If ever it's an android.
Total android. And like people say something to him, and he pauses and say, "That's really interesting."
Let me compute.
Yeah. And then there's another pause, and then he'll do like a hand to mouth thing, and drop it, put it back again, drop it, and then goes, "Well, what do you think we should do?" And it's like, this man isn't real. There's no way he's real. He can't be real. Like, he's this Mormon robot. I am a Mormon. I will sell you property. Because he's a multi-billionaire from selling property. And all his brothers are now rich as well. And the first episode is weird because it's about like, well, not what it's about, but there's this whole section about like, oh, look at this jet I own. And also, let's drive in my really fast Lamborghini. Like, what are you doing these shots for? Morons. Like, I don't know what you feel about, but like, it reeks of like, I am so rich, I'm going to make my own TV show. And if no one wants to put it on TV, I'll just bribe them and make them put it on TV.
Yeah. There is.
There's a lot, because like there's a lot of like bad shots in it and stuff not edited properly. And it's just like, oh God, lads, you could have done so much. It's strange that, I know the History Channel isn't the best in the world, but there are standards, you know. But anyway,
one thing. Oh, did you remember what you were going to say about?
No, I don't know.
Right.
No,
one thing I did like about the editing, though, compared to say Oak Island and any of that kind of ilk, is that they didn't do an awful lot of repeating scenes. I know it gets more as it goes on.
Yeah.
The first couple episodes, it's not, you know, that kind of ghost hunter type thing where they show the same. He walks into a room and goes, oh! Find out what happens.
Then there's
later.
an ad break.
Yeah, 10
and
times
then
you see the same thing. Yeah. That doesn't happen so much in this.
Not so much. It does happen, but not as much as you'd normally expect. That's the problem with these American shows, that they have to be done like that. And I think, isn't it to do with American ad breaks are really, really long, so they have to remind the viewer. I think that's the reason. I think so, yeah. I think what's an hour on our TV is like an hour and a half or 2 hours on their TV.
Yeah, so 44 minutes is a standard like hour-long program. So there's 16 minutes of ads in every show. Or 8 minutes, you know, like Friends is 22 minutes, so you have 8 minutes of ads. That's crazy, isn't it? Like,
it's nuts, isn't it? But Friends was an hour in America. It was only half an hour over here, yeah.
So it's double episodes, is it? Or was it?
No, whole episode. But one of our half-hour episodes is an hour in America.
And how come they never show the full ones over here then?
No, they did show them full. It's just there's so many ads in the American ones.
Oh, really? Yeah. That? Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's like have you ever tried to listen to American radio? It's awful. Yeah. And I'm not talking about the Howard Stern stuff. That's the good stuff because there's very little ads in it. But American radio is just ads. It's horrible. Right. So it is. Anyway, I was going to say, that's not the thing I forgot. That's gone. So Brandon Fugal is the chap who has bought it. And he bought it from Bigelow.
Male Gigolo.
Male Gigolo.
Robert Bigelow.
Robert Bigelow, who's this multi-billionaire, who is Male Gigolo. And he's one of, isn't he like Elon Musk's kind of rival into space and all this? Anyway, he's really rich. He's done the balloon thing around the world. He's incredibly rich. You probably know who he is. Any Americans will know anyway. But so he bought this from Bigelow, and Bigelow had done his investigations, and their information is under lock and key, and if the feds and the CIA were all involved and stuff like that. So, why do you think this Brandon Fugal wanted to buy this off of Bigelow? Like, would you not be a bit freaked out and be like, yeah, I'm not putting my money into that. That's just fucking weird. But like, why? I don't get what Fugal's at trying to look for stuff here. What's his end game?
Yeah, I don't know, because at least in Oak Island, they're looking for a treasure. So, you're spending all of this money in the hope that they're going to make billions or whatever it is at the end. I don't know. Because if he was a skeptic, you could kind of go, oh, well, he just wants to prove that, really, just love Jesus and that you'll be fine. Don't believe in any of this devil's worship stuff. But it's not that either. I don't know. I think he just has so much money that he goes, this is really interesting. I could make a TV show out of it. I could become, I could be the president in a couple of years once I get my TV show career sorted.
Imagine him as your president. Yes, I think so. No, I'm not sure. What do you think?
Let me compute.
I cannot say can't.
But thankfully he's not in it that much. He gets brought up on the screen. I suppose it's probably easier to an android to work on a computer screen rather than in real life. It's a bit more believable, deep fake and all that.
What I like is that in the first episode or second episode, Travis gets really angry with them because they're like, they tell him that he can't do something. He's like, yeah, we'll go in and we'll dig this up, we'll dig that up, we'll put drones up and put them everywhere. And they're all like, no. And he physically, he just goes, his brow furrows and he goes, huh? What do you mean, no?
What do you mean I can't dig? Anytime anyone digs, something strange happens. Yes, that's what we want.
Exactly, yeah, we want strange stuff to happen. It's weird, but like, for me, they gave a clue in the first bit of it, and that like a lot of the fallout from the, Oppenheimer doing his bombs and all in down around Vegas and all that. A lot of the fallout fell out here.
Yeah.
So like the ground is just a mess. It's just they put the Geiger counters or whatever down, pointing at the floor, and just go.
Yeah.
And
they mentioned something about it that it's kind of like a basin or a hollow, and it could just get a collector. But when they were saying more when they were trying to suggest that there's some sort of satellite dish or something under the ground.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about the Geiger counter stuff and all the EMF stuff, which the EMF stuff is very hard to. I don't know, when you talk to people about EMF stuff, it's like that's not really indicative of anything you predict, but that's mostly around ghost hunting. Where they go, EMF, it could be anything. Someone switched on a light and the wire's live behind you, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But when it's, I suppose when it's outside, it's a bit different. But when they go sometime and it goes crazy, and to have these watches and these, tablets in the back pockets that, have every single thing synced up so that they know, what you're thinking about, what your last meal was, all this kind of stuff. But if they get scared or they get worked up or they're about to have a heart attack or whatever it is. But when they're going around and they're doing all that, sometimes it goes crazy in one area. Like when they open the well and your man gets the chemical, or not the chemical burns, the radiation burns.
Yeah.
And the proper radiation burns, and you can see him, your man just going like, Jim's going like, maybe we should just test this, but you've opened it already. Fair enough. He's delighted that you got radiation burns. But then they go back the next day, and there's no radiation. There's nothing. Yeah. And I don't know how radiation works. That if you open it, does it just all come out and then it's gone? Like the air is clear now. It's no longer radiated. I don't think that's how radiation works. But it's an interest. That whole kind of abandoned building section seemed to be the focus of an awful lot of EMF readings, Geiger counters. And they did the Oak Island drilling thing as well, and they had the exactly same outcome as Oak Island always does, where they go, we can't go any lower without breaking the drill bit. All right, let's drill somewhere else.
Break it. Break it. Get a new one. What the fuck? Yeah. You're millionaires.
So we're right down at this that bit where they kind of do the batteries keep wasting and all the electric stuff as well. That's odd, but explainable, I suppose. But they think there's some sort of.
Is it explainable?
It's explaining that it's a TV show made for TV show, and that's
well, I like
let's put this in the narrative.
There was two really good bits that illustrated the batteries all dying out. Because at first you're like, come on, this is nonsense, and everyone's phone is suddenly dying for no reason or whatever, and you're like, yeah, come on, bullshit. But then like these two guys come on, and one of them is a drone operator. But he has one of these like $50,000 drones or whatever. Yeah. But like you look at him and he's like, okay, this guy once failed at being a UFC fighter, and now he's he got some brain injury from being a UFC fighter and put all his money into I can fly drones. Yeah, no, that's not nice. He seemed like a nice guy. I wasn't even joking. But so he flies up the drone and they do lots of stuff and everything's grand. And then they go off to Homestead 2. This is where all this radiation was happening. And as soon as they get there, he's like, I don't know, my battery's dead. And all the crew are like, oh yeah, sure, isn't it always the same? This is what happened. And the guy is like, no, well, this is impossible. No, this $50,000 drone. This doesn't happen. And you can see he's worried.
Yeah.
This is his livelihood. And he's like, my fucking drone is broke.
Because like
the wife was going to fucking kill me. How am I going to explain? I went out to a farm and now aliens have broken my drone and now I won't be able to eat. Oh my God!
If you have a $50,000 drone, the battery's at least 10 grand in that. Like, you know what I mean? It's not just you can run down to the shop and go, I need rechargeable drone batteries.
So they get what they work on Dragon, and Dragon is the naysayer among the whole thing, the security guy, and he's like, yeah, no Sorry. After the drone guy, these people come in and they do this. I think it's called something like opposite radar. They go around with these things who look like kind of push lawnmowers, but they send a signal down into the ground looking for anomalies.
That's one of those
Holes,
words,
basically.
Anomalies.
Yeah. Man, I spent 20 minutes today trying to say linoleum. Couldn't do it. I have the thing from the podcast to put out today, and it's just, there's literally 2 minutes of me going, linoleum. I should have left it in. Anyway, so they do this thing, and along the drives they're doing, they keep finding these kind of like anomalies, that there's something underground that shouldn't be there. So it's like a chasm underground, or it's this weird rock that shouldn't be there because it's not as dense. There's a gap. But the same thing, they get out the homestead too, and they're, all right, let's do this thing. Let's look for the ghosts. And everyone's like, no, I bet you the batteries are going to go. And they line up, and they're all starting to go, get the lawnmowers ready, and batteries are gone. They're like, yeah, gotcha.
And so their solution is, let's tie it to the Jeep and drag it along.
yeah. So then, like what you were saying, Tommy, they bring in the rig to do the drilling, and it's exactly like a drilling for a well. If you've ever seen, you've probably seen people do that in Ireland, have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have your own well, don't you?
No,
you don't. No, that's why your water's the way it is. Yeah, so you get in this big thing, and it's big. It's on the back of a big lorry, and it weighs a ton. Like, they're massive yokes. But they drill down for fucking, I think they go 200 to 300 feet kind of thing. Right. Way down, you know? And this is like one of the most exciting parts of the series, because Travis has been bulling to get digging, and they found these anomalies where it's like, right, well, this thing is like 1,000 feet long, that's a mile, isn't it? Whatever a mile is, I have no fucking idea what the fuck a mile is. Jesus,
definitely not 1,000.
It's 27,000 inches and 4/7. What the fuck is this guy talking?
Plus 2 tongue lengths and a finger.
Can we just do things in tens and hundreds? You know, no, we can't do that.
12.
I want 7 ounces of cola. What? Ounces of liquid? What the fuck is this guy talking? Anyway. So, I'll just pay for that with 17.5 shekels. Okay. Get out of here. How do you rule the world? So there's this thing underground that's like 1,000 feet long.
Before you go, it's very suspicious maths by Travis to get that. He goes, I'll just mark these things on the board, put them together, make up a number, and go, it's 1,000 feet long. And everyone goes, yes, it is 1,000 feet long.
Yeah, obviously,
yes.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, yes, Travis. I don't want to look stupid and say no. So there's this thing underground, it's 1,000 feet long, and it's not that far underground. It's like at the most 25 feet, you know? But these drilling things can go down like 300 or something. So they drill the first one, and it goes down like 10, 12 feet or something. And it for every 3 foot or something, it comes back up, and they look at the samples and they see if there's any fucking radiation in it, you know. So they're doing it, and there's nothing. It's just mud and clay. That's all it is. And so they do it for the first one, and then they come to this like hard something, and you can hear the drill is skipping, clunk, clunk, clunk. It's not working, and it's like, and the guys doing it are like, yeah, it's bedrock. It's like, get the fuck. How is it possibly bedrock? And it's only 14 feet down. Fuck the fuck off. And one of them actually says, the second scientist, he's like, it sounds like metal. It's got to be metal. Like, it sounds like metal. So I think that's bad editing that they left it in there. It's going to be the big reveal next season. They're going to find something
that it
metal.
is a satellite dish.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And then they drill a second hole, and it's the same thing. They get down a little bit further, but it's the same thing. It's just clinking off something. They can't go down. They're like, yeah, it's bedrock. And like, they stop drilling. So they pay this guy, whatever, $1,000 a day to come in and do some drilling. And it's like, okay, you're done after half an hour, so you can go home.
Go home.
And after Travis was trying so hard to get the digging done, they just stop after 2 tiny drills that are only about 6 feet apart from each other. And it's like, what the fuck, like, you idiots, like, keep drilling. Like, it's obviously something is down there. You got to find. It's not. It can't possibly be bedrock, because as well, they reveal one bit that they're. What is it? 10,000 foot is a commercial airplane, but they're already at an elevation of 5,000 feet.
Yeah.
So they're really, so like, come on, bedrock is a long fucking way away from where you are. Like, not that bedrock is going to be at sea level, right? But like, it's not, bedrock isn't 14 foot away. It's impossible. Like, you know, so
you think there's actual scenes taken out that they did?
No, I don't think there's scenes. Well, yeah, okay, yeah, that would make sense. That there's scenes taken out where there is something that they found. Like, I mean, part of me really wants it to be like a
a UFO,
craft, an alien craft, or
course.
UFO, or something, or else it's a chamber that was built by the army or government or whatever that's down there,
Aliens.
and it's just but it's just sealed in by concrete and lead and metal and all that kind of stuff, and they can't drill through it, which would make sense if it was like a blast. What do you call it? What do you call those blast rooms? The nuclear blast rooms.
Like blast chamber things,
they're reinforced concrete and there's lead and stuff put around it to keep out. I mean, it wouldn't make sense. So, a drill, though, probably would it be able to break concrete? It probably wouldn't if there's that much of it, though. To be honest. So.
Well, I'm sure if they knew that's what they were going through to get the concrete drill bit out, stick it on the top. The interesting thing that came out of it, though, after that, because they were going right, so we can't go down. And they sort of do this whole running around the fields thing where they're triangulating signals, whatever. And what they realise is that the actual interference or the thing is being projected from above rather than from below.
As above, so below, Tommy.
Yeah, they kind of changed their mind a bit about that later, because they have secret evidence in the background that they haven't told us about.
Yeah.
But they're saying that maybe it's this thing in the middle could be in some way, I don't know, an amplifier or something. They're not sure, but there's definitely something half a mile above. This is how we find out about the sea level, because he keeps saying, Travis saying it's a mile, and then someone goes, well, we're actually already 500, feet above.
Doohickeys above the shekels.
Yeah. But so the linoleum.
Tommy's having a stroke.
Linoleum. And they find that this thing, so goes, all right, we'll stick a balloon up there and see what the crack is. Of course, the balloon battery or whatever it is doesn't work. But it goes, the second balloon they get up, they go, well, we'll release it up without any tether and just hope we find it again. And as soon as it hits that area, it disappears. From sight, from computers, from the world. It's gone from the Matrix. That's super interesting. If you take it at face value that that's what happened, which just go into, why not?
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting, that because they're saying that if the signal, the interference, the whatever, the EMF is coming from above, then it can't be a natural thing, because that's not how it works. So it has to be. They're saying, well, it could be coming from a satellite. You're going, well, it's too low for a satellite because it's not that high. Yeah. At all. So that's interesting. I find that it's kind of that's cool. 14 seasons of Oak Island, and there was no equivalent to that. Oh, right. That's very interesting. But then the cow.
No, but here.
Am I missing a part?
The bit where they figured this out, that it's coming from a mile above them, and they're like, right, let's. Travis is like, well, guess what, guys? I'm a professional rocket maker.
Oh yeah.
So he gets in this intern.
Oh no!
Completely doesn't read the script at all. And she shows up, and they start making rockets, right? So which is cool. So they start making rockets, and the first one is a failure, but they just lash rockets together because this is his job. He's good at it. They send up rockets, and they get loads of readings and all that. But while they're sending up the rockets, they say that two separate UFOs materialize. Come out now. Now, for me, they're probably the same one, but it's still a fucking UFO, man.
Oh, yeah, it is, yeah.
So they're sending up rockets to investigate what's this thing that's a mile high, and then suddenly this bright light appears and kind of dances around up in the sky above them. Now, what's fucking hilarious is that the cameraman, there maybe only had one or two cameramen doing it. They didn't get the reaction of everyone looking up into the sky, so they obviously went, "Fuck, we're gonna have to reshoot this." Guys, can you all just get in a line? And I want you all just to stand and look up at more or less where it was in the sky, and we'll shoot you. And it'll be done in 30 seconds. No problem. Up walks the intern, and as the boys are all looking to the northwest, she's looking to the southeast.
On the floor. And not just once, but like
twice.
3 years later. You were sending me photos of it. I went, oh my God, that's so funny.
I was sending the screenshots to Tommy, just go, what the fuck is this young one at? It's hilarious. So, I mean, that's just bad editing or bad shooting or whatever. But yeah, people pick up on stuff like that. And like, I'm not like, those nerdy people are like, the Simpsons guy where Homer makes fun of, why did he hit the skeleton twice that didn't play the same note? I'm like Homer Simpson. I'm like, look, you're a fucking nerd. Shut the fuck up. You're looking into stuff too much. But that's fairly obvious, Yeah, so there was that. And what was there was something else just prior to them doing the rockets as well. The cows.
Oh yeah, the cows
I
act strange.
I have problems with the cows because the
Yeah.
cows turn up and it shows the
We
people
also
who
forgot about the exotic animals that had to be brought onto the show because
So-
it's it's thematically 2020 is the exotic animal year. It seems.
So they get on the 2 trailers of cattle, and they show who will be looking after the cattle and kind of taking data on them to make sure nothing happens and that they're reacting or how they react to like the strange phenomenon and all that. What we don't see is any milking parlours.
No, yeah, or any.
That's very strange. No, you
yeah.
don't see actual like they're not farmers, they're scientists. And they're like, you don't know much about cows, man. You shouldn't be looking after cows. Okay, you can read the data and all that, but you haven't a fucking clue. And then, but anyway, before these rockets go off, the cows.
So I kind of have to assume that they've got the cows in for the mutilations to happen because they're not being milked, they're not being actually farmed.
They have to be milked. I mean, they all had tits like the cows I saw. So someone's milking them, but they just don't.
They don't show the
it.
actual farmer, the real farmer. Does the work.
And like, something weird as well is that like there's obviously people living on it, but they don't really show anyone. They're not really telling us the whole truth of it. You know what I mean? That's why I don't.
Those science farmer people,
they're living
in the house.
Yeah.
And there's whatever reason to go down to the basement.
Yeah.
And
we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that though, right?
Okay.
So the cows start acting strange in one of the fields before the rockets go up, and so they put this down to that, like, with hindsight, the cows sensed that there was going to be beings in the sky or whatever. And it's like, no, man, you were setting off rockets close to cows. You scared the fucking shit out of them. Look, come here to me. I'm from a rural background, well, no, you're not, but you live beside cows.
Yeah.
Cows are the easiest fucking animals in the world to scare.
Yeah.
You know, like you just walk up to you can walk up to a cow, looking her straight in the face, and you can walk right up to her and go, boo, and she'll fucking stampede. You know, they're idiots. They're lovely animals, but they're not. Wouldn't be the smartest. And like, suddenly, obviously they knew there was aliens. It's like, nah, man, no.
No, it was rockets. You were making lots of noise.
Rockets,
yeah.
But anyway, more on cows later.
More on cows. But they do end up at a part of the farm that they've never been before. They do huddle together a lot, almost like they're haired animals. It's very weird that they're haired together.
Very strange.
It's very, very strange.
But yeah, go on about the house. Tell us about the house.
So these non-farmer scientist people who aren't milking have got into this house, and for whatever reason, I don't know, did they hear noise? They heard something, I don't know what it was, but they were down into the basement and they discover that there's a wall, that there's definitely something behind it, that there's no room, there's no door leading into it, and there's no way coming out. So no messing around. Let's drill a big fucking hole in that and have a look. So they drill a hole in it and they find it's just like a square concrete sealed room with what seems to be burnt animal bones or possibly human bones. They kind of leave that a bit for season 2 as well. I think it kind of disappears fairly quick. But really weird, like, because they're saying, well, if it is an animal that came in and gets caught, how did it get in? And number 2, how did it start?
Fire.
Start a fire, or did it self-combust? Or what I was saying, but that's really odd. But it's like. A lot of the stuff then doesn't seem to go anywhere. Like they kind of, I suppose, where do you go? Where do you go? This is really weird. I can't explain it. Right? I suppose we just have to.
I can't either.
We just have to move on.
Does anyone know a shaman? Actually.
Well, they did bring a guy down, didn't they? One of the he was all doom and gloom though, wasn't he? He wasn't very positive about the future.
No.
So all of that was great. I was really enjoying it. The first 6 episodes, solid 8 out of 10. Entertainment as opposed to documentary. I'm not saying that I'm convinced, but it's a History Channel thing, fully enjoyable. Hopefully most of it is, they're not just lying to us, so there is something to it. But the cow thing, as soon as that happened, I went, not buying this at all.
Here, there was another thing with the animals, because you mentioned the exotic animals, which are just alpacas.
Yeah.
And
no, exotic animals.
Every fucking petting zoo in the Western world has alpacas. There's 2 alpaca farms in Cheshire. That's
all right, there you go.
They're not exotic. They're in Cheshire.
They advertise as exotic animals, don't they?
I presume they're for the wool, I suppose. People don't eat them, do they? Must be for the wool. Anyway, so at the start of, I think it's episode 2 or something, they bring in these alpacas, and a day or two later, we see some very grainy footage of something
terrible.
attacking them.
Where again, like the main camera that's aimed at this situation suddenly doesn't work, which I just felt, don't think I'm buying that.
Yeah, it's a stretch as well, because as well, there's something else in the editing as well. Like the guy, farm data scientist, he says at first, yeah, I think it was some kind of dog. And then she jumps in, no, it wasn't a dog, definitely wasn't a dog. What the fuck, it was a dog, of course it was a dog.
And he was the one who seen it. It was him who
Yeah,
seen
exactly.
it.
And he threw a rock at it, or a big stick or something to get it away. But so some vet comes in and stitches up the alpaca, and he's like, yeah, I heard some shit. I saw some shit. I didn't like it, kind of thing. Proper old school kind of cowboy vet, And he tells a bit of a story about the old owners and that there was weird stuff. And I think he tells a story about how cows were attacked by these kind of wolf things that were just very hard to kill, or they couldn't get rid of. They were ravenous in how they attacked animals on the farm. But then it comes to the cow mutilation episode.
Yeah, Cowgate.
Cowgate. And a different vet comes. They don't bring the old timey guy at all, which I thought was a bit disappointing. I liked him.
Yeah.
And
so basically, a cow dies, and this is obviously means, I don't know, that this is the most exciting thing that's ever happened on Skinwalker Ranch before, ever. The people are ringing people, they're on walkie-talkies, the batteries work fine in the walkie-talkies when they're at the beginning. And everyone runs, and you can tell, I don't know, that it's a bit scripted, because it seems the worst ham acting of the entire show. And they get to the cow, and they go, oh, what's going on? And he goes, well, it's a dead cow. So they get this new vet out, and he cuts it open in the field. Because I didn't know that's what you do if a cow dies, you just leave it there to animals to eat it.
No. In America, you do. You don't do it in Europe. No, God, no.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So they cut him open or whatever, and they go, oh, look at the size of his heart, look at the colour, oh, and the vet goes, yeah, that's pretty standard cow
That's
heart.
normal. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's okay. Never seen a cow's heart before now. What the fuck, pussies? Jesus.
And so then he says, oh, yeah, he died of tuberculosis. He goes, oh, he died of a surprise. Was he shocked? And he go, well, yeah, I suppose he would have had to have a bit of a shock to kick the final thing. Oh, he died of shock. Well, he had tuberculosis. Oh, he definitely died of shock.
That, ladies and gentlemen.
You see the vet, he's standing beside the tree, go, yes.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly how episode 5 goes. Exact word for word. That's perfectly it. He died of shock. No, he died of pneumonia. Shock.
Pneumonia, not tuberculosis.
Shock.
Yeah, pneumonia.
Yes.
Yeah, he died of tuberculosis. Why? Is it the 1920s? Sorry.
I spent at least 3 minutes Googling stuff after that. And
right, okay. What did you find?
Is pneumonia a big killer in cattle? And it turns out it still is a massive killer. But I couldn't find anything that said it was brought on by shock. But then again, look, I mean, I only went to the second page of Google looking at stuff. I didn't go all that far into it. But I think it's, for me anyway, pneumonia takes, a couple of days to kill a human.
Yeah.
You're not going to die. It's just a bad cold that gets worse. So in a cow, if you give a cow a fright, it's not going to be dead half an hour later.
No.
or 2 or 3 hours.
But I think that's what they were suggesting. That he was sick, but this is the thing that actually killed it. And they do then a footage of the poor cow just sitting down his last few
dying.
hours. And there was a UFO then appears above it. It's an interesting that it's there. And then the rest of the cows just go to literally the other side of the farm. But which might be strange, might not. Cows might not want to be near a dead cow. I don't know how it works.
Yeah, I'd presume that's what it is.
Yeah. But it's then the truck out, Linda Muttlehow, and she comes in and does her TV bite moment, her sound bites.
What's her name? Linda Moulton Howe. Moulton. That's a funny name. Okay. Yeah.
And you can just
hey. First of all, though, we got to compliment her. To be that old and have such amazing hair.
Oh yeah, fair.
She's wonderful hair. Isn't it lovely? Yeah. You just lovely hair. I hope it's not a wig. I hope she's not one of those old ones. No.
She's very well known. She's well respected with bunny ear quotes.
Is she?
Well,
oh yeah,
that's
your quotes. Okay, I didn't see that. I was drinking water. Nobody respects her, do they?
Well, she was up until as far as I can gather, that when there was these very obviously photoshopped UFO pictures that came out a couple of years ago. I keep saying a couple of years ago. It's probably definitely 10 years
that
ago.
sounded way meaner than I meant to say it now. It's
I
just
know,
that,
of course. Yeah.
No, I mean, no, she seems sound and all, and her mutilation documentaries and all are quite good. But then she goes off the rails.
Yeah, and she's brilliant in that other documentary about Richard Doty that we watched. Like, she takes no shit. I'd say she was a very formidable woman in her day. Now she's very, wheeled out for sound bites on like Ancient Aliens and whatever is going on. But what was I going to say about her then? So she comes out and to bring her over to the cow, and you can tell she's trying to. Well, I feel she's trying to play to. What they want, you know what I mean? It's very kind of led rather than giving an opinion, and she very quickly joins the boat on, died of shock, but she just talked about the cattle mutilations and about how it was all, she has this thing, it's all skyward facing eyes, it's never, the mutilation's never on the inside, there's never any, marks, all that thing. That's very interesting, but like she knows her shit on that. I know what I was saying, it was about the UFO photos, very obvious photoshopped photos from a couple of years ago that she said were totally legit, and everyone went, that's obviously, Photoshop.
Yeah, there's loads of stuff. If you Google her name, what's the opposite of the Wikipedia thing? It's the
the Skepticpedia, whatever.
Yeah, something like that. If you look at her,
Rational Wiki.
Yeah, if you look at her entry on that, there's about 20 or 30 things where she's just completely and utterly
wrong
about. Like there's stuff like I think there's something about a Bigfoot terrorizing a community, and she's like, this is obviously Bigfoot, and they're starting to have their vengeance on us. And so, whoa, what?
Oh, yeah.
Like she's, I don't know, I thought it was strange that they brought her into this show because she wasn't needed, and her expert opinion, it's tainted now too much, which is weird as well. Like with something like Ancient Aliens, like I mean, it's my go-to thing on telly. If there's nothing on late at night, I'll watch 15 minutes of it before I go to bed, kind of thing. And what's interesting is that, like, as the show goes on and they've less and less things to talk about, they're actually getting better and better guests. They're getting proper PhDs and fucking, like the first couple of seasons, it's all these mad people whose books you would find it hard to find on Amazon. Well, not anymore. Who the fuck was Graham Hancock before Ancient Aliens? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, he was known, but not at the level. He was known,
but not now. But now he's like, fuck that, I'm staying away from that. I'm far too serious now for that. Whereas actual serious, like, college professors are coming on going, I'll come on for the laugh. We go crack, like. Which is funny. It's funny that it's flipped like that. But her, I don't know, I mean, I want to like her because she did do great stuff back in the day, but now it's like, it's controversial,
I would say out of the way the editing of that, I would say that cow thing is the first thing that happened. I'd say that was the pilot episode. That was the thing that was put together, and then everything else was built in after it. It seems that's why you would bring in someone like Linda Moulton Howe. This kind of, this is how we're going to sell the show. This is the thing, and then they'd probably realise that it's not as big of a deal as we thought, because we have all this other better stuff. And definitely the last episode's a terrible episode because it's one of those where we sit around and tell you exactly.
The last episode is awful. Don't bother watching it.
So overall, I think I enjoyed it. I would definitely be looking forward to season 2, which probably won't happen now because of lockdown, pandemics, and all that.
Not in America.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, it can't happen in America. Yeah. I will go back and I'm going to watch the other documentary again tonight, The Hunt for the Skinwalker, because it's been a while since I watched that.
Yeah.
But
send it to me or send me. What's it called? I'll look it up.
Hunt for the Skinwalker, 2018. Same dude who did.
Look, I mean, it is good. It's a shame that it's a bit formulaic, a bit like Oak Island, whereas that, like, there's these different things that they kind of have to do every episode. It's like, okay, so we'll talk about what we're going to do, we'll all react about it, say how we feel, might have a bit of a prayer, and then fucking hell, and then they go out and do something, then they call the boss man doesn't speak in any conjunctions, and then they go off and do something else again, and then they react and usually leave something on a cliffhanger. I mean, I know these things write themselves, and it's a shame that television has gone that way, that all of these types of shows are carbon fucking copies of each other. But the thing about them is that it's the people in them that make us want to come back. Like, for me, Oak Island, I think the subject is interesting. There isn't a single interesting person in it.
No.
Whereas this Skinwalker, Travis, is a pretty interesting fella.
Yeah.
And Do you know, there are, and the other scientist guy he's quiet. He doesn't say a lot, but he's pretty smart.
Yeah,
he does know what he's talking about. So you would come back for them, all right, and then laugh at just like, I am not a robot. I am a seller of property
And
to the humans.
cat, the scariest dragon in the world.
Scaredy cat. Yeah. Poor guy. We're bullying him, huh? Oh, no, we're not. We are bullying him. I'm bullying him. Sorry,
Well,
Dragon.
he's
You're not
the head
listening.
of security, and he calls himself Dragon. He can take it. Well, he can't.
Oh,
but
he gets
should be
pissed
able to
off.
take
He
it.
gets pissed off with the proper science guys, though, isn't he? Not Travis. He gets pissed off.
Oh,
He's
there's no one listening to my opinion because I don't have a PhD. And then you can see everyone's going,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, obviously your opinion doesn't count. We're fucking scientists. You stand at a gate.
And he can say, oh, I'm awful sorry about that. I didn't mean to outburst like that. Okay.
Poor fella. No, and then I ended up feeling sorry for him after that because it's like, look, he's just doing this. And it's paintingly obvious. I can't say any of those words. It's so warm here, man. It's 30 degrees in the fucking shade here today, and I'm under a roof. It's very, very obvious that none of them, bar Travis, have ever been on television before.
Yeah.
And all of them, and they're just like, I don't know what to do with the camera. So it gets better. It gets better coming to the end of it, though. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm like you. I'm looking forward to the next season. I think it'll be good. I think they will find something where they were digging because for me, that's just ridiculous that they would do two well digging. Sorry, they would drill 2 holes and then stop after that. Like, for no real reason other than, we can't find anything. Fucking keep digging. Go down the road a bit and keep digging. Idiots. It's like if anyone was digging for water, they're not going to bring in a drill and drill 1 hole on 20 acres and go, no, there's no water here. Why don't you just move the fucking truck 200 feet down that way? You might find some. No. Or get some guys with divining rods or whatever. Get out your pack of 40 fucking servants and ask one of them, where's the water? Ask the moon. The moon would know. The moon knows everything about water. It doesn't have any. That's why it knows so much. It needs to fucking know. There, moon, 47, where's the water? Moon will tell you. Guaranteed. All right.
Season 2.
Bye-bye.